lovelies, and welcome back. And if you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Zoe and this is my channel Mizz Manga, where I talk a lot about manga. So today's video is going to be talking about 3 one-shots that I just picked out and decided to read today and just give you a little bit of a review and my feelings on them. And they were all really good. I honestly, they were a great bunch of one-shots. I have mixed bag experiences with one-shots, but I always just enjoy a good one-shot. And I was not let down with these 3, so that was very exciting. And let's just get into it. So first up is the one-shot Skygrazer. This is a Kodansha release. And I have a lot to say about this one, but I'm going to try and rein my thoughts in and not talk too much about it and give too much away. So I really enjoyed this one. It is about 3 hormone-fueled boys, space detectives, robots, fairies, and a series of mysterious murders, all interconnected by this apartment complex called Skygrazer. So going into it, it starts off rather normal enough, I'd say, and just slowly starts incorporating these themes of robotics and artificial intelligence, and it gets deeper and more interesting as you go into it. But in the beginning, it just seems like these quick little short stories that are kind of amusing and a little funny and off-kilter. And I really enjoyed and was kind of chuckling to myself in the beginning. And then it all kind of comes together more than I anticipated. All the characters are actually quite interwoven. It's not just the apartment complex like the synopsis made me believe. They all come together and have a lot to do with the story. And I found that really fascinating. It took the lighthearted, more humorous tones of the first half and kind of built these stakes up, talking about, the ethics of human-looking robotics or artificial intelligence, and made things more deep and interesting. And there was a twist that I really didn't see coming. So yeah, I just really enjoyed this one. I think the only drawback it has is its art isn't that appealing. So I assume that people that have more preferences when it comes to art might not pick this up, but I say look past that because it's a really interesting story. There's so many twists and turns. It made me, chuckle one minute and then made me think deeply about something the next, and it left me kind of feeling empty inside in the end, but in a good way. It was oh wow, this is where this story went from the beginning to here, and it all made sense. It all was cohesive and I just really enjoyed it. It was a fun and interesting ride, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 star read. I definitely hope to forget enough to reread and enjoy it as much as I did this first time. And yeah, if you can get past the art and you want a wildly, kind of different and interesting read, I definitely recommend picking this one up. It was super enjoyable to me. Next up, we have Look Back. So this is a very thin one-shot that Viz Media put out, and I almost didn't pick it up because of that. I think that one-shots that are too thin tend to be lacking in some regards, just because there's not enough pages to make an impact. But I take that back with this one. I think it made a really good impact. It was a short, concise story, and any longer would have just been dragging things out. But this is a story about a young girl who likes writing these little manga comics in the back of her school newspaper. And then one day a teacher asks her if a truant student, a student that doesn't come to school, could submit their manga panels and do one beside her. So she agrees, thinking nothing of it, but it turns out their manga panels are just really, really good. They're really well done. And so she kind of gets a little competitive and she starts trying to study art and tries to like get like better than them and just can't seem to improve enough. And so she finally decides she's gonna quit. But then she gets a chance meeting with this truant student and things change. And I won't go any further than that because, you know, then I'd be telling the whole damn story. But it's short, simple, sweet, bittersweet. Yeah, I don't want to spoil how it ends, but it definitely doesn't have a everything works out happy-go-lucky end to it, and not in a way I was expecting. It also surprised me. I've read similar stories that take this kind of, I'll say twist. I don't know if it's a twist per se, but take this direction of the story in a similar vein. And the way it was done, this one stood out to me. I like how it was handled. And I'm not going to go into more detail because that would totally spoil the whole book. But just know it is rather of a sad ending, or, you know, bittersweet ending. And yeah, it's a poignant story of growing up and moving forward, as the synopsis on the back says in the end. And yeah, I think if you like just one-shots in general, which I really like them, but also like about just like real life and that vibe, I guess, then I would check it out. But yeah, just be prepared for some feels. It totally made me tear up, like, for sure. I was trying really hard not to cry at the end. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this one. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I thought overall it was really, really well done. So last up, we have To Strip the Flesh. So this one had a collection of 6 short stories in it, which I thought was a lot because I finished the first story and it took up almost half the book. So I was like, how the heck are they gonna cram 6 stories into it? Well, some of them are like a page. So it's very, you know, varied in like terms of quality and impact the story can have. Obviously the first story, which is To Strip the Flesh, I thought was a really well done and really necessary story about a transgender person, and they're, you know, not only going through the process of transitioning, but also like they're getting their father to see and understand him as well. And so that I always like to see. I like to see just having that representation and normalizing it and just making it accessible for people to read about, because I think that's really important. And so I appreciated that. But some of the other stories, like I said, they were really short, some of them. I really liked a story about the Statue of David, which it started off so weird, just so weird, but it was actually quite cute and charming by the end of it. And there was even 1 or 2 of the one page, like just, they're literally just one page of it. And I thought they had a cute or like sentimental little impact on it. But my other favorite story, other than To Strip the Flesh, was a story about a son and a mother, and the son kind of becoming a bit of a truant after the dad leaves, and him finally coming to terms in understanding what his mother's been going through and how his mother feels, and their relationship growing closer. It was so poignant. It was so nice to see. I don't know. It was just short and sweet, and I liked it. So yeah, this was a mixed bag, more or less. All kind of centers around the beauty of embracing who you are, which is on the back, and which I definitely felt the theme throughout all of the pieces. And it was a solid read. I'll give it 4 out of 5 stars because it had a few stories that I was just kind of like about, so. But I also thought it was really interesting when I got to the end, and I sometimes read the little author's summary of what they've done and what they've worked on, and then I sometimes don't, but I read theirs and they had worked on Fire Punch with the mangaka of Look Back, Tatsuki Fujimoto. So I thought that was really cool, like tying together these two one-shots and their mangakas. So that was just a neat tidbit I found interesting that I wanted to share. But it has nothing to do with the story, but it was cool that I picked them both up and I decided to read them together in this group. I just picked 3 that I'd had sitting on my shelf that I wanted to read. So yeah, those were my 3 one-shot reads that I just picked off my TBR, to be read cart that I had sitting there for a while and wanted to read. I have quite a few more one-shots that I need to read. So if you like this video, please like this video, and that way when I do read them, I can share them like this in a video, probably doing like, you know, the same amount, like 3, talking about like 3. I think that's a good amount, you know. It's not too overwhelming and I can go a little in depth with them and the video is not too long. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe. It means so much. Thank you and goodbye.